This video contains audio content only. There are no visual elements or images accompanying the audio. If you're expecting to see video footage, please note that this is an intentional audio-only presentation. We recommend listening to this content rather than watching the screen. Thank you for your understanding and enjoy the audio. Welcome to a fascinating exploration of the Trobriand Islanders, a unique culture nestled in the Milne Bay province of Papua New Guinea. In this easy-to-understand journey, we'll delve into the heart of Trobriand society, uncovering the intricate ways their lives are intertwined with the cultivation of yams, their vibrant spiritual beliefs, their surprisingly open approach to love and marriage, and their complex relationship with magic and ritual. We'll also uncover the fascinating story of the Kula Ring, a unique system of ceremonial exchange that connects a network of islands, and explore how the arrival of Europeans dramatically reshaped Trobriand culture, from their adaptation of cricket to their navigation of a clash of values. Finally, we'll decode the intriguing language of Trobriand emotions, revealing how even seemingly universal expressions can have surprisingly different meanings across cultures. Prepare to be captivated by a culture where yams are more than just food, their currency, status symbols, and the very foundation of social life. Discover a world where ancestral spirits play an active role in the lives of the living, influencing everything from conception and birth to health and prosperity. Explore a society where love blossoms early and marriage is a fluid arrangement, free from the rigid constraints of many other cultures. Witness the power of magic and ritual, woven into every aspect of Trobriand life, from gardening and fishing to love and warfare. We'll unravel the mysteries of the Kula Ring, a complex system of ceremonial exchange where shell valuables travel between islands, carrying with them stories of prestige and power. We'll examine the dramatic impact of European contact, witnessing how the Trobrianders adapted to the arrival of missionaries and colonial authorities, transforming the game of cricket into a vibrant expression of their own cultural identity. And we'll delve into the fascinating world of Trobriand emotions, decoding the surprising meanings behind their facial expressions, particularly the gasping face, which holds a meaning quite different from what Westerners might expect. By the end of this exploration, you'll have a deeper understanding of the Trobriand Islanders, their unique customs, and their remarkable resilience in the face of change. You'll gain insights into the diversity of human experience, the power of culture to shape our lives, and the importance of cross-cultural understanding in an increasingly interconnected world. Join us as we embark on this captivating journey into the heart of Trobriand culture. Chapter 1. A Garden of Yams, the Roots of Trobriand Society. The Trobriand Islands, a verdant archipelago in Papua New Guinea's Milne Bay province, are home to a people whose lives are inextricably linked to the cultivation of yams. More than just sustenance, yams are the very foundation of Trobriand society, a currency, a status symbol, and a cornerstone of their cultural identity. Their importance permeates every aspect of Trobriand life, from the daily routines of gardening to the elaborate ceremonies that mark the harvest season. The yam season begins with the clearing of new garden land, a communal effort where men and women work side by side. Men typically wield axes to fell trees and clear brush, while women gather the debris. This initial stage, imbued with both practical and ritual significance, sets the tone for the entire growing cycle. Magic spells, passed down through generations, are chanted to ensure a bountiful harvest, invoking the blessings of ancestral spirits and warding off potential threats. Once the land is cleared, the men take the lead in preparing the soil. Using digging sticks, they meticulously till the earth, creating mounds for the yam seedlings. Different varieties of yams are carefully selected for planting, each with its own specific purpose. Some are prized for their size and taste, destined for feasts and ceremonies, while others, smaller and less flavorful, are primarily used for everyday consumption. The men also construct sturdy fences around the gardens to protect the precious crop from wild pigs and other foraging animals. As the yams grow, they require constant attention. The men regularly stake the vines, ensuring they have proper support to climb and flourish. They also weed the gardens diligently, removing unwanted plants that compete for nutrients and sunlight. Throughout the growing season, magic spells are chanted to encourage growth, protect against pests, and ensure a plentiful harvest. The matrilineal nature of Trobriand society is deeply ingrained in the yam cultivation process. Men cultivate yams not for their own wives, but for their sisters and married daughters, reinforcing the bonds of kinship and obligation within the maternal clan. The size and quality of a man's yam harvest directly reflect his sister's status within the community. A bountiful harvest brings her prestige and influence, solidifying her position within the matrilineal hierarchy. Yam houses, the repositories of this agricultural wealth, are prominent structures in every Trobriand village. Built on stilts to protect the yams from moisture and pests, these structures are often larger and more elaborately decorated than the islanders' dwellings. The yam houses of chiefs are particularly impressive, adorned with intricate carvings and colorful decorations that symbolize their power and status. These structures are not merely storage facilities, they are symbols of prosperity and the continuity of the matrilineal clan. The culmination of the yam growing season is the annual harvest, a time of vibrant celebration and ritual. Young men and women, dressed in their most festive attire, carry baskets overflowing with yams to the owner's hamlet, their arrival announced by joyous songs and energetic dances. The rhythmic swaying of hips, a symbolic representation of fertility, reinforces the connection between yams and sexuality, a recurring theme in Trobriand culture. The gardener, having meticulously filled the yam house, is rewarded with a lavish feast. Cooked yams, prepared in a variety of ways, take center stage, accompanied by taro, pork, and other delicacies. This celebratory meal is a gesture of gratitude for the gardener's hard work and a reaffirmation of the social bonds that underpin Trobriand society. Yams, beyond their nutritional value, serve as a unique form of currency in the Trobriand Islands. They are exchanged as gifts, used in ceremonial payments, and even employed in settling disputes. The relative value of different yams depends on their size, variety, and the social context of the exchange. Larger, more aesthetically pleasing yams are considered more valuable, especially when given as gifts to chiefs or during important ceremonies. The Kula Ring, a complex system of ceremonial exchange, further exemplifies the cultural significance of yams. While the kula itself involves the exchange of shell valuables, yams play a vital role in the accompanying feasts and ceremonies. These exchanges, often involving long voyages to neighboring islands, reinforce social ties and enhance the prestige of the participants. The increasing exposure to a cash-based economy is gradually changing the traditional role of yams in Trobriand society. While money is becoming more prevalent, particularly in transactions with outsiders, yams continue to hold immense cultural value. They remain a symbol of wealth, status, and tradition, a tangible link to the ancestral past and the matrilineal foundation of Trobriand culture. Stories abound of islanders who, despite having access to cash, still prefer to conduct important transactions with yams, reaffirming their cultural identity and the enduring power of tradition. One such story tells of a young man who, having earned a substantial sum of money working in the city, returned to his village and used his earnings to purchase a large quantity of yams, which he then distributed to his sister and her family, solidifying his place within the community and honoring the traditional way of life. The Trobrianders' relationship with yams is a testament to the profound connection between culture and agriculture. Yams are not merely a food source, they are the lifeblood of Trobriand society, a symbol of wealth, power, and the enduring strength of tradition. As the islanders navigate the challenges of a changing world, yams remain a vital link to their cultural heritage, a reminder of their unique identity and the enduring power of the garden. Chapter 2. Whispers of the Ancestors, Birth, Death, and the Spirit World. The Trobriand Islanders' unique worldview extends beyond the earthly realm of yam gardens and into a vibrant spirit world, a place intimately woven into the fabric of their daily lives. Central to this spiritual landscape are the Baloma, ancestral spirits believed to reside on the mystical island of Tuma. These spirits, far from being distant figures, are active participants in the lives of the living, influencing everything from conception and birth to health, prosperity, and even the weather. The Trobrianders hold a fascinating belief about conception, one that demonstrates the resilience of tradition in the face of modern knowledge. They believe that pregnancy occurs not through sexual intercourse, as understood by modern science, but through the intervention of a Baloma. A woman becomes pregnant, they say, when one of these ancestral spirits enters her body. This belief, remarkably persistent even with the introduction of modern medicine and education, underscores the profound influence of ancestral traditions on Trobriand thought. It's a testament to the enduring power of cultural narratives, passed down through generations, to shape understanding of the world. Death, in the Trobriand worldview, is not an ending but a transition. It's a journey from the world of the living to the realm of the ancestors on Tuma. Tuma is not simply a shadowy underworld, but a vibrant island where spirits continue to live, interact, and even observe the affairs of their living relatives. This belief in the continued existence of the spirits shapes the Trobrianders' approach to death and mourning, imbuing their rituals with a profound sense of connection to the ancestral past. When a Trobriander dies, the community gathers for an all-night vigil, a powerful expression of grief and remembrance. Men take the lead in singing traditional songs, their voices echoing through the night, while women and children weep openly, expressing their sorrow. This collective mourning is not merely a private affair. It's a public acknowledgement of the loss and a reaffirmation of the community's shared bonds. Following the burial, a series of intricate rituals unfolds, centered on the sagali, a traditional distribution of goods. These distributions are far more than simple acts of charity. They are intricate expressions of reciprocity, social support, and economic exchange. Women, particularly those of the deceased's matrilineage, play a central role in these sagali, distributing skirts made of woven fibers and bundles of dried banana leaves, a form of traditional currency. The quantity and quality of goods distributed reflect the giver's status and influence within the community, transforming the sagali into a public display of wealth and power. In modern times, trade cloth, acquired from outside the islands, has become incorporated into these distributions, reflecting the changing economic landscape while maintaining the core principles of reciprocity and social connection. The sagali serves multiple purposes. It repays those who participated in the mourning rituals, acknowledging their support and contributions. It also strengthens social ties within the community, reinforcing the bonds of obligation and interdependence. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, it honors the deceased, providing sustenance and comfort in the spirit world. The Trobrianders believe that the spirits continue to need and appreciate material goods, even in death. Beyond the immediate mourning period, the connection to the ancestors continues. The Trobrianders believe that at the end of each harvest season, the Baloma return from Tuma to visit their living relatives and observe their well-being. This belief has a profound impact on daily life, influencing behaviors and decisions in an effort to maintain the favor of the ancestors. Knowing that their ancestors are watching, the Trobrianders strive to live virtuous lives, upholding the traditions and values of their culture. They are mindful of their actions, seeking to avoid behaviors that might displease the spirits. The Baloma are not simply benevolent observers. They are believed to have the power to influence the lives of the living in significant ways. They can affect health, bringing illness or healing. They can impact prosperity, bestowing good fortune or causing hardship. They can even control the weather, sending rain for the crops or unleashing destructive storms. To appease the ancestors and ensure their continued benevolence, the Trobrianders engage in various rituals and offerings. They may leave small portions of food at their meals for the spirits, or offer specially prepared dishes at designated shrines. They may also perform specific dances or chants to honor the ancestors and invoke their blessings. Magic plays a crucial role in the Trobrianders' relationship with the spirit world. Magic spells, carefully guarded and passed down through generations, are used to communicate with the ancestors, influence their actions, and request their intervention in worldly affairs. These spells are not viewed as mere superstitions. They are powerful tools for interacting with the spiritual realm, a means of seeking guidance, protection, and blessings from the Baloma. Specific spells are associated with particular purposes, such as ensuring a successful yam harvest, healing the sick, or attracting a lover. These spells are often accompanied by rituals and offerings, further solidifying the connection between the living and the dead. The Trobrianders' beliefs about the afterlife, ancestor worship, and the influence of spirits are not simply abstract concepts. They are deeply ingrained in the fabric of their daily lives. These beliefs shape their understanding of the world, influence their behaviors, and provide a framework for navigating the complexities of life and death. Their intricate rituals and traditions, passed down through generations, are a testament to the enduring power of the spirit world in Trobriand culture, a constant reminder of the unseen forces that shape their destiny. Chapter 3. A Dance of Desire. Love and Marriage in the Trobriand Islands. The balmy air of the Trobriand Islands carries not only the scent of blossoming yams but also a distinct melody of flirtation and desire. Love, in this corner of the world, blossoms early and unfolds with a naturalness rarely seen elsewhere. From the tender age of 6 or 7, Trobriand children embark on a journey of sexual exploration, a journey guided by cultural acceptance and playful experimentation. Their playground becomes a stage for enacting miniature versions of adult courtship. Young girls, adorned with fragrant flower crowns, mimic the seductive hip movements of older women, their laughter echoing through the village. Boys, armed with miniature bows and arrows, practice the art of flirtatious pursuit, their games a rehearsal for the romantic pursuits of adulthood. These erotic games, far from being viewed with disapproval, are actively encouraged by the community, seen as a healthy and natural expression of developing sexuality. They teach children about the nuances of attraction, the dynamics of pursuit and rejection, and the importance of mutual pleasure. One such game, described by anthropologists, involves children building small huts together, mimicking the creation of a shared space, a symbolic precursor to the establishment of a marital home. Another game involves playful chases and mock captures, mirroring the playful pursuit and retreat that characterize adult courtship. These early experiences, woven into the fabric of childhood play, shape the Trobrianders' understanding of sexuality as a source of joy and connection, free from the shame and secrecy that often shroud it in other cultures. As adolescence approaches, these playful explorations evolve into more serious romantic pursuits. Young Trobrianders, now adorned with the traditional red skirts of adulthood, actively seek out partners, their choices guided by a complex interplay of physical attraction, social status, and personal compatibility. Physical appearance plays a significant role, with both men and women striving to enhance their attractiveness through adornment and the use of magic. Beauty magic spells, carefully learned and recited, are believed to enhance one's allure, making the skin glow, the hair shine, and the eyes sparkle. These spells, often whispered into coconut oil before being applied to the body, are not mere vanity. They are a cultural practice aimed at attracting a desirable mate. A young man might chant a spell to make his arms appear stronger and more muscular, while a young woman might recite a charm to make her hair more lustrous and her smile more captivating. These magical practices, interwoven with the pursuit of romance, reflect the Trobrianders' belief in the power of intention and the importance of presenting oneself in the most desirable light. Courtship itself is a delicate dance of approach and retreat, a subtle interplay of signals and gestures. A young man might offer a betel nut to a woman who catches his eye, a gesture of interest and invitation. If the woman accepts, it signals her willingness to engage in further conversation and flirtation. The exchange of betel nuts, a mild stimulant, becomes a symbolic exchange of desire, a prelude to more intimate encounters. These encounters often take place in the bukamatula, a special hut designated for premarital liaisons. This designated space, far from being hidden or secretive, is a recognized and accepted part of Trobriand social life, a place where young people can explore their sexuality without the pressures of formal commitment. Marriage, in the Trobriand Islands, is a fluid and evolving arrangement, devoid of the rigid ceremonies and legal contracts that define it in many other cultures. It begins, not with a grand pronouncement or a public exchange of vows, but with a simple act of shared intimacy. When a woman chooses to remain in a man's house after sunrise, it signals her intention to enter into a marital relationship. This act, witnessed by the community, carries significant social weight, transforming the couple's status and initiating a new phase of their lives together. The bride's mother plays a crucial role in formalizing the union. Her arrival at the couple's house with a basket of cooked yams is not merely a gesture of hospitality, it's a public acknowledgement of the marriage. The act of sharing yams, a staple food and a symbol of wealth and sustenance, signifies the couple's commitment to building a life together. It's a symbolic act of nourishment, a promise to provide for each other and for their future family. This initial act of sharing yams is just the beginning of a complex and ongoing exchange of goods between the families. The husband, while not directly providing yams for his wife, is expected to reciprocate the yams given to his wife by her family with gifts of equivalent value. These gifts might include valuables such as shell ornaments or stone tools, or more practical items like woven mats or fishing nets. This ongoing exchange, a tangible expression of reciprocity, reinforces the social bonds between the families and solidifies the marital union. Yams, as discussed earlier, are not merely a food source. They are a cornerstone of Trobriand economics and a potent symbol of wealth and power. In the context of marriage, they take on even greater significance. A man's ability to cultivate a bountiful yam harvest enhances his sister's status and, by extension, his own prospects for attracting a desirable mate. A woman, in turn, benefits from her brother's yam harvest, receiving a portion of the crop as a symbol of her worth and a contribution to her household. The annual yam harvest becomes a crucial period for evaluating potential partners and assessing the stability of existing relationships. A poor harvest can strain a marriage, while a bountiful one can strengthen it, reinforcing the importance of agricultural success in the Trobriand social fabric. For example, if a husband's yam harvest consistently falls short of expectations, it can lead to tension and even the dissolution of the marriage. Conversely, a husband who consistently provides a substantial yam harvest for his wife's family earns respect and strengthens the marital bond. Divorce, in the Trobriand Islands, is a relatively straightforward affair, devoid of the legal battles and emotional turmoil that often accompany it in other cultures. If a woman is unhappy in her marriage, she is free to leave her husband and return to her own family's home. There are no formal rituals or ceremonies associated with divorce. The simple act of leaving signifies the end of the relationship. The social and economic consequences, however, can be significant. A divorced woman may lose access to the yams provided by her husband's family, impacting her economic standing. A divorced man, in turn, may lose the social connections and support of his wife's family, weakening his position within the community. While divorce carries no social stigma, it does disrupt the established patterns of exchange and reciprocity, requiring adjustments and renegotiations within the affected families. Love and marriage in the Trobriand Islands, then, are a complex tapestry woven with threads of tradition, pragmatism, and a deep understanding of human sexuality. From the playful explorations of childhood to the fluid arrangements of adulthood, the Trobrianders approach romance with a unique blend of freedom and cultural nuance. Yams, the lifeblood of their society, play a central role in these relationships, symbolizing not only sustenance and wealth but also the intricate web of social obligations and reciprocal exchanges that bind individuals and families together. Chapter 4. The Sorcerer's Apprentice: Magic, Ritual, and the Supernatural. Magic is the invisible hand that shapes the Trobriand world, a potent force woven into the fabric of daily life. It's a practical tool, employed in every endeavor, from coaxing yams from the earth to enticing lovers into a whispered embrace. It's a shield against misfortune, a weapon against enemies, and a source of both wonder and fear. Young Trobrianders, eager to harness this power, embark on a lifelong apprenticeship, learning the secrets of spells and rituals from their elders, exchanging precious gifts for fragments of ancient knowledge. Imagine a young gardener, eager to ensure a bountiful yam harvest, seeking the wisdom of an old sorcerer. He approaches the elder with gifts of tobacco, carefully wrapped banana leaves, and perhaps a prized pig, its tusks gleaming in the sunlight. The old man, his eyes twinkling with ancient knowledge, accepts the offerings and begins to share a spell, a carefully guarded secret passed down through generations. He might chant a few lines, describing how to appease the spirits of the earth and ensure the yams grow large and strong. Or he might reveal a ritual, explaining how to prepare a special concoction of herbs and spices to sprinkle over the garden beds. These spells and rituals are not simply words and actions. They are imbued with a power that the Trobrianders believe can shape the very forces of nature. Fishing, too, is an activity deeply intertwined with magic. Before setting out to sea, a fisherman might seek the guidance of a magic specialist, offering gifts in exchange for a spell to ensure a plentiful catch. The spell might describe how to summon the spirits of the sea, or how to appease the guardians of the reef, ensuring a safe and prosperous voyage. One particular spell, recounted in hushed tones among the islanders, speaks of a special charm made from the bones of a seabird, believed to attract fish to the nets like moths to a flame. Another spell describes how to carve a special symbol into the hull of the canoe, a symbol believed to ward off sharks and other dangers of the deep. Love magic, a potent and sought-after art, is another realm where the power of spells holds sway. A young man, smitten with a particular woman, might seek a love spell to capture her heart. He might learn a charm to whisper in her ear, a secret incantation believed to ignite her desire. Or he might acquire a potion, carefully brewed from fragrant herbs and flowers, to secretly slip into her drink. These love spells, often passed down discreetly from one generation to the next, are highly valued and carefully guarded. One such spell, whispered among the young men of the village, involves chanting a special incantation into a coconut shell filled with seawater, then burying it beneath the woman's doorstep, believing it will draw her towards him like the tide to the shore. Even warfare, before it was replaced by the ritualized combat of cricket, was steeped in magic. Warriors would adorn themselves with charms and amulets, believing they offered protection in battle. They would chant war spells to bolster their courage and weaken their enemies. One such spell, now a relic of the past, described how to create a magical shield from the skin of a lizard, believed to deflect arrows and spears. Another spell involved chanting a special incantation into the flames of a bonfire, invoking the spirits of war to grant victory. The process of learning magic is a gradual and often incomplete affair. Elders, reluctant to part with their precious knowledge too quickly, often share spells in fragments, prolonging the exchange of gifts and ensuring their continued influence. This practice, while preserving the value of magical knowledge, also leads to the occasional loss of spells. If an elder dies before fully transmitting a spell, the knowledge is lost forever, a testament to the fragility of oral tradition. Some villagers, recognizing this risk, have begun to write their spells in hidden books, safeguarding them for future generations. These books, carefully concealed from prying eyes, become repositories of magical power, passed down within families like treasured heirlooms. Beauty magic, a specialized form of enchantment, is particularly important in Trobriand society. Coconut oil, infused with fragrant flowers and herbs, becomes a magical potion, believed to enhance attractiveness and allure. Specific ingredients, carefully selected for their symbolic and magical properties, are added to the oil. Hibiscus flowers, known for their vibrant beauty, are believed to enhance the skin's radiance. Fragrant herbs, such as lemongrass and mint, are thought to purify the body and attract positive energy. The oil, once infused with these magical ingredients, is then applied to the body in specific rituals, often accompanied by chants and incantations. Flowers and herbs are also woven into armbands and hair decorations, their magical potency amplified by their proximity to the body. These adornments become more than mere decorations, they are talismans of beauty, imbued with the power to attract and enchant. Sorcery, the darker side of magic, casts a long shadow over Trobriand life. Unlike other forms of magic, which are generally viewed as beneficial, sorcery is associated with malice and harm. It's a clandestine art, practiced in secret by those who seek to inflict illness, misfortune, or even death upon their enemies. The Trobrianders believe that illness and death are often caused by malevolent spirits, summoned by sorcerers through dark rituals. These rituals, shrouded in secrecy and fear, are said to involve the use of human remains, poisonous plants, and other taboo substances. The mere suspicion of sorcery can lead to ostracism and fear, creating a climate of paranoia and distrust within the community. To protect themselves against the dangers of sorcery, the Trobrianders employ a variety of counter spells and protective rituals. Amulets made from shells, stones, and other natural materials are worn as talismans, believed to ward off evil spirits. Special herbs and plants, known for their protective properties, are hung in doorways and windows, creating a barrier against malevolent forces. Rituals involving chanting and dancing are performed to cleanse the body and home of negative energy. One such ritual involves burning bundles of fragrant herbs, the smoke believed to purify the air and dispel evil spirits. Another ritual involves bathing in seawater infused with special herbs, a symbolic act of cleansing and renewal. When someone falls ill or dies unexpectedly, sorcery is often suspected. Accusations can fly, fueled by fear and suspicion. The accused, whether guilty or not, may face ostracism, banishment, or even violence. In the past, suspected sorcerers were sometimes put to death, a grim testament to the power of fear and the destructive potential of belief. Today, while such extreme measures are rare, the stigma of sorcery remains potent, casting a shadow over the lives of those accused. The Trobrianders' complex relationship with magic and sorcery reflects their deep connection to the supernatural world, a world where unseen forces shape their lives, influencing everything from the bounty of their gardens to the health and happiness of their loved ones. Chapter 5. Shells of Prestige. Navigating the Kula Ring's currents. The scent of salt spray and the rhythmic creak of wooden hulls against the waves are the backdrop to one of the Trobriand Island's most remarkable traditions, the Kula Ring. More than just an exchange of goods, the Kula is a complex tapestry of ritual, magic, social climbing, and high-seas adventure, binding together a necklace of islands in a continuous loop of ceremonial exchange. Two types of shell valuables form the heart of this intricate system: the solava, long necklaces of meticulously crafted red shell discs, and the mawali, gleaming white shell armbands, each imbued with a history and prestige that transcends their material worth. Imagine a seasoned Kula navigator, his eyes scanning the horizon, his mind filled with the weight of the precious cargo he carries. He grips the steering oar of his elaborately carved Kula canoe, its prow adorned with symbols of power and protection, guiding it through the treacherous currents of the Solomon Sea. He is on a vital mission, a journey not just across the waves, but through a complex web of social obligations and ancestral traditions. His canoe, a masterpiece of craftsmanship, is not merely a vessel. It's a floating symbol of his tribe's prestige, its size and decoration reflecting the owner's status and influence. The larger and more ornately decorated the canoe, the greater the honor bestowed upon its owner and the more impressive the display of power. The solava, radiating a deep crimson hue, travel clockwise through the ring of islands, their circular journey mirroring the endless cycle of reciprocity that underpins Trobriand culture. Each necklace, painstakingly crafted from hundreds of small red spondylus shells, carries with it the stories of its previous owners, their triumphs and tribulations whispered through the generations. The mawali, gleaming white against the tanned skin of their wearers, move counterclockwise, their journey a counterpoint to the solava's path, creating a dynamic interplay of exchange. Fashioned from polished sections of large conus shells, the mawali are symbols of strength and power, their smooth, cool surfaces a tactile reminder of the prestige they represent. The Kula exchange is not a casual affair. It's a carefully orchestrated ritual, steeped in tradition and ceremony. Preparations begin months in advance, with meticulous attention paid to every detail. Canoes are painstakingly repaired and repainted, their prows adorned with freshly carved symbols and vibrant pigments. Magic spells are chanted over the vessels, invoking the protection of ancestral spirits and ensuring a safe and successful voyage. Offerings of yams and other precious goods are presented to the spirits, seeking their favor and guidance. The voyages themselves are fraught with danger. The Trobrianders, skilled navigators, rely on their intimate knowledge of the sea, the stars, and the subtle signs of the wind and waves to guide them through treacherous currents and unpredictable weather. These journeys, often taking weeks or even months, are not simply about transporting shells. They're tests of courage, endurance, and seamanship, qualities highly valued in Trobriand culture. Stories abound of daring voyages, of canoes battling fierce storms and navigating treacherous reefs, their crews relying on their skill and the power of magic to bring them safely to their destination. One such story tells of a legendary navigator who, caught in a sudden squall, calmed the waves by chanting a powerful spell, saving his crew and his precious cargo of solava. Upon reaching their destination, the Kula participants are greeted with elaborate ceremonies. Formal presentations of the shell valuables take place, accompanied by speeches, dances, and feasts. The exchange itself is not a simple handover, it's a ritualized performance, imbued with symbolic meaning. The presenter, holding the solava or mawali aloft, recites its history, listing its previous owners and the renown they achieved through its possession. The recipient, accepting the valuable, acknowledges the honor bestowed upon him and pledges to uphold the Kula's traditions. Feasts, fueled by mountains of yams and other delicacies, are an integral part of the Kula ceremonies. These feasts are not simply about satisfying hunger. They are expressions of wealth, generosity, and social status. The host, by providing a lavish spread, demonstrates his prosperity and reinforces his standing within the community. Guests, by partaking in the feast, acknowledge the host's generosity and reaffirm their social bonds. The Kula Ring has profound social and political implications, shaping the power dynamics and alliances within and between the islands. Successful Kula participants achieve great renown, their names whispered with respect and admiration throughout the Kula Ring. Their ability to acquire and exchange valuable shells elevates their social status, enhancing their influence within their own tribe and strengthening their connections with other communities. The Kula, then, is not simply an exchange of shells, it's a competition for prestige, a social game played out on a grand scale. Lifelong partnerships, forged through the Kula exchange, are the backbone of the system. These partnerships, often inherited through generations, create lasting bonds between individuals and tribes, fostering peaceful relations and facilitating trade. A young man, entering the Kula Ring, inherits not only his father's shell valuables but also his Kula partners, inheriting a network of social obligations and reciprocal exchanges. These partnerships are not simply transactional, they are based on trust, mutual respect, and a shared understanding of the Kula's importance. They create a web of social connections that spans the islands, promoting communication and cooperation between different communities. Magic and ritual play a crucial role in ensuring the success and prestige of Kula expeditions. Spells are chanted to ensure favorable winds, calm seas, and a successful exchange. Rituals are performed to appease ancestral spirits and secure their blessings. One such ritual involves the ceremonial bathing of the Kula canoe in seawater infused with fragrant herbs, believed to purify the vessel and attract good fortune. Another ritual involves the offering of yams and other precious goods to the spirits, seeking their favor and protection. The Kula Ring, while primarily focused on the exchange of shell valuables, also facilitates trade in more practical goods. The voyages, while ceremonial in nature, also provide opportunities for exchanging food, tools, and other essential items. A canoe returning from a Kula expedition might carry not only shells but also bundles of dried banana leaves, a form of currency, or baskets of yams, a staple food. This exchange of practical goods, while secondary to the Kula itself, plays a vital role in the economic life of the islands. The Kula Ring is not without its anxieties. The pressure to acquire and exchange valuable shells can be intense, fueling ambition and sometimes leading to disputes. The loss of a valuable shell, whether through theft, misfortune, or a failed exchange, can have serious social consequences, damaging a man's reputation and weakening his standing within the community. One such story tells of a Kula participant who, having lost a prized Mawali armband in a storm, was ostracized by his tribe and forced to live in exile, his reputation tarnished beyond repair. The Kula Ring, then, is far more than a simple exchange of shells. It's a complex social institution, deeply embedded in the cultural fabric of the Trobriand Islands. It's a source of prestige, a driver of social mobility, a facilitator of trade, and a symbol of the islanders' connection to the sea, their ancestors, and each other. It's a testament to the enduring power of tradition, the importance of reciprocity, and the human desire for connection and belonging. The Kula, with its intricate rituals, daring voyages, and complex social dynamics, offers a unique window into the heart of Trobriand culture. Chapter 6. Beyond the Missionary's Gaze. Clash of Cultures in Paradise. The tranquil shores of the Trobriand Islands, once solely ruled by the rhythm of the Kula and the yam harvest, faced an unprecedented tide of change with the arrival of Europeans in the late 19th century. Methodist and Catholic missionaries, driven by a fervent desire to spread Christianity, established their presence on the islands, their arrival marking not only a spiritual encounter but also a profound cultural collision. These missionaries, with their Western values and religious doctrines, sought to reshape the Trobrianders' understanding of the world, challenging their traditional beliefs and practices. They preached against the islanders' free love customs, advocating for monogamy and condemning premarital sex. They discouraged the use of magic and traditional medicine, promoting instead Western medical practices and the tenets of Christian faith. The islanders' reaction to these attempts at religious conversion was complex and varied. Some embraced the new faith, drawn to its promises of salvation and eternal life. Others clung steadfastly to their traditional beliefs, viewing the missionaries' teachings with skepticism and resistance. Still others adopted a syncretic approach, blending elements of Christianity with their existing spiritual practices, creating a unique hybrid faith that reflected the ongoing cultural exchange. The colonial authorities, arriving alongside the missionaries, brought with them their own set of transformative influences. Concerned with maintaining order and suppressing what they perceived as savage practices, they forbade tribal warfare, a deeply ingrained aspect of Trobriand culture. This ban, while intended to pacify the islands, had unintended consequences. The Trobrianders, deprived of their traditional outlet for intergroup rivalry and conflict resolution, channeled their competitive energies into a new arena, the game of cricket. Introduced by the missionaries as a peaceful pastime, cricket was rapidly transformed into a distinctly Trobriand spectacle. Teams swelled to encompass entire villages, their numbers a symbolic display of strength and unity. Traditional war paint and elaborate headdresses replaced cricket whites, transforming the playing field into a vibrant display of cultural pride. Magic spells, once used to ensure victory in battle, were now employed to enhance cricketing prowess, adding a layer of ritual significance to the game. The rhythmic thump of traditional drums and the hypnotic sway of dancers replaced polite applause, creating an atmosphere of electric excitement. These dances, adapted from ancient war rituals, often incorporated taunts and boasts directed at the opposing team, a stylized echo of the verbal sparring that once preceded tribal clashes. Cricket matches became a stage for settling disputes, replacing physical combat with a ritualized form of competition. The stakes, however, remained high. Defeat was a source of deep shame, while victory brought immense prestige and bragging rights. In particularly heated matches, the burning of yam houses, a profound insult in Trobriand culture, became a symbol of the intensity of the rivalry, a fiery reminder of the underlying tensions that the game both expressed and contained. The introduction of a cash-based economy, another facet of colonial influence, further disrupted traditional Trobriand life. Western goods, from metal tools and cloth to processed foods and manufactured trinkets, began to flood the islands, creating new desires and altering consumption patterns. The traditional yam-based economy, once the foundation of Trobriand wealth and status, was increasingly challenged by the allure of Western currency. This shift created new forms of economic disparity. Those who were able to acquire cash through trade or wage labor gained access to a wider range of goods and services, while those who remained reliant on the traditional yam economy found themselves at a disadvantage. This economic divide, in turn, exacerbated existing social inequalities, creating tensions between those who embraced the new economic order and those who clung to traditional ways. The islanders' reaction to Western attempts to influence their reproductive norms provides a compelling example of the clash between cultures. Missionaries and social workers, armed with pamphlets and pronouncements, preached against premarital sex and encouraged the use of contraception. Their efforts met with resistance and incomprehension. The Trobrianders, with their deep-rooted beliefs about the spiritual nature of conception and their open approach to sexuality, viewed these attempts to control their reproductive behavior as a fundamental misunderstanding of their culture. This resistance, however, had tragic consequences. The introduction of HIV/AIDS, brought to the islands by outsiders, spread rapidly through the community, fueled by the traditional practice of premarital sex with multiple partners. The islanders' initial lack of understanding of the disease, coupled with their resistance to Western medical advice, contributed to a devastating health crisis. The traditional bukamatula, once a symbol of sexual freedom, became a vector for the spread of the virus, forcing the Trobrianders to confront the painful realities of a changing world. The commercialization of cultural artifacts, driven by the influx of tourists and traders, presented another ethical dilemma. Trobrianders, eager to acquire Western goods and currency, began to sell their traditional carvings, masks, and other cultural objects, transforming sacred objects into commodities. This practice, while providing much-needed income, raised concerns about the loss of cultural heritage and the exploitation of traditional artists. Stories abound of skilled carvers spending days crafting intricate turtle shell earrings or ceremonial yam bowls, only to receive a pittance in return from opportunistic traders. This economic disparity fueled resentment and underscored the power imbalance inherent in the encounter between the traditional world of the Trobrianders and the globalized market economy. The islands, once a haven of cultural autonomy, were becoming increasingly integrated into a global system, their unique traditions increasingly vulnerable to the pressures of commodification and cultural appropriation. The Trobrianders' experience of colonialism and missionary activity is a complex and nuanced story, a testament to the enduring resilience of culture in the face of external pressures. It's a story of adaptation and resistance, of cultural exchange and the painful realities of a changing world. The islands, once a remote paradise untouched by Western influence, were transformed by the arrival of missionaries and colonial authorities. Their traditional ways of life were challenged, their beliefs questioned, and their very identity put to the test. Yet, through it all, the Trobrianders retained a remarkable ability to adapt and innovate, incorporating outside influences while maintaining a strong sense of cultural identity. Their story is a microcosm of the global encounter between tradition and modernity, a reminder of the enduring power of culture to shape human experience. Chapter 7. The Gasping Face. Decoding Trobriand Emotions. The Trobriand Islands, a place where the scent of yams mingles with the salt spray of the Pacific, hold a secret language etched upon the faces of its people. One expression, in particular, has perplexed Western observers for decades: the gasping face, known locally as Ekapunipuni Matala Migala. While Westerners typically associate this expression with fear and submission, the Trobrianders interpret it as a clear sign of anger and threat. This stark contrast reveals not only the cultural relativity of emotions but also the potential for profound miscommunication across cultural boundaries. The Ekapunipuni Matala Migala, literally translated as face mouth wide open, is characterized by a wide open mouth, often accompanied by a sharp intake of breath. The eyes may widen, and the eyebrows often raise, creating a visage that strikes Westerners as a universal expression of fear. However, in the Trobriand context, this expression is anything but fearful. It's a display of aggression, a warning signal, a challenge thrown down in the face of a perceived threat. A young man, confronting a rival over a disputed yam garden, might flash the Ekapunipuni Matala Migala, his wide-open mouth a symbolic display of his readiness to defend his claim. A woman, angered by a perceived slight, might use the expression to communicate her displeasure, her gasping face a prelude to a torrent of verbal reprimands. The intensity of the expression can vary, from a subtle widening of the mouth to a dramatic gasp, depending on the severity of the perceived threat or the depth of the anger. Accompanying gestures, such as clenched fists or a stamping foot, might further amplify the message. The Ekapunipuni Matala Migala is used by both men and women, across all age groups, its meaning consistent throughout Trobriand society. Intriguingly, this expression finds its way into Trobriand art, particularly in the carved wooden masks used in traditional ceremonies. These masks, often depicting exaggerated versions of the Ekapunipuni Matala Migala, are imbued with spiritual significance, representing ancestral spirits or powerful deities. Westerners encountering this expression for the first time have often been misled by their own cultural biases. Mistaking the Ekapunipuni Matala Migala for fear, they have sometimes responded with appeasement or attempts at reassurance, inadvertently escalating the situation. One anthropologist, recounting his early days in the Trobriand Islands, described how he mistakenly interpreted a villager's gasping face as a sign of distress during a minor disagreement. His attempts to comfort the villager, however, were met with confusion and then anger, as the villager perceived his actions as condescending and dismissive of his legitimate grievance. Another researcher, observing a heated cricket match, mistook the players' gasping faces for expressions of fear or exhaustion, failing to grasp the aggressive intent behind the display. These misinterpretations highlight the dangers of imposing Western emotional frameworks onto other cultures, demonstrating the crucial need for cultural sensitivity and understanding. The Trobrianders' unique interpretation of the gasping face is rooted in a complex interplay of historical, social, and spiritual factors. Their history of intertribal warfare, where quick assessments of threat were essential for survival, likely played a significant role. The Ekapunipuni Matala Migala may have evolved as a visual signal of impending attack, triggering a rapid defensive response. However, the meaning of the expression extends beyond the realm of physical conflict. Their belief in sorcery, a potent force in Trobriand life, may also contribute to the interpretation of the gasping face as a threat. A sudden gasp, they believe, might be a sign of a sorcerer casting a spell, an act of aggression with potentially dire consequences. The Trobrianders' social dynamics, where status and prestige are fiercely contested, also play a role. The Ekapunipuni Matal Amygdala can be a tool for asserting dominance, a way of signaling one's power and challenging rivals. During yam harvest ceremonies, for example, a man might display the gasping face to emphasize his claim to a particularly large or prized yam, a nonverbal assertion of his status within the community. The Trobrianders' view of the gasping face stands in stark contrast to its interpretation in other cultures. In Western societies, as mentioned earlier, it is almost universally seen as an expression of fear, surprise, or submission. In some East Asian cultures, however, a similar open-mouthed expression can signify politeness or respect, particularly when interacting with elders or authority figures. This cross-cultural comparison highlights the remarkable diversity of human emotional expression and the importance of avoiding ethnocentric interpretations of behavior. The Trobrianders' Ekapunipuni Matal Amygdala offers a powerful lesson in cross-cultural understanding. It challenges the notion of universal emotions, demonstrating that even seemingly basic expressions can have radically different meanings depending on cultural context. This knowledge has profound implications for intercultural interactions, conflict resolution, and global business. Imagine a Western businessperson negotiating a deal with a Trobriand counterpart. Misinterpreting a gasping face as fear or submission could lead to miscalculations and missed opportunities. Recognizing it as a sign of anger or assertiveness, however, could allow the Westerner to adjust their approach, avoiding escalation and fostering a more productive exchange. Similarly, in conflict resolution, understanding the cultural nuances of emotional expression can be crucial for de-escalating tensions and finding common ground. A mediator, unfamiliar with Trobriand customs, might misinterpret a gasping face as aggression, further inflaming the conflict. A culturally sensitive mediator, however, would recognize the expression as a legitimate, albeit culturally specific, way of expressing anger or frustration, opening up avenues for dialogue and understanding. The gasping face of the Trobriand Islanders is a window into a different world, a world where emotions are expressed in ways that defy Western expectations. It's a reminder that the human experience, while universal in many ways, is also deeply shaped by culture. By embracing the diversity of human expression, we can build bridges of understanding across cultures, fostering communication, resolving conflicts, and building a more interconnected world. The Trobrianders, with their unique emotional language, invite us to question our assumptions, broaden our perspectives, and embrace the rich tapestry of human experience. Chapter 8. From War Drums to Wickets, Cricket as Cultural Combat. The crack of the bat against a carved wooden sphere, the rhythmic thump of drums, the hypnotic sway of dancers. This is not Lord's, but a cricket match in the Trobriand Islands. Here, in this remote archipelago off the coast of Papua New Guinea, cricket isn't just a game, it's a vibrant expression of tribal identity, a ritualized substitute for war, and a stage for social drama played out on the village cricket pitch. The story of Trobriand cricket begins, ironically, with the colonial authorities' attempts to pacify the islanders. Appalled by the violence and sexual displays associated with traditional warfare, they outlawed tribal conflicts, hoping to impose a more civilized order. They introduced cricket as a peaceful alternative, a gentlemanly game intended to channel the islanders' competitive energies into a less destructive pursuit. Little did they know how spectacularly their intentions would be subverted. The Trobrianders embraced cricket with enthusiasm, but on their own terms. They transformed the game, infusing it with their own cultural practices and beliefs, creating a spectacle that would likely leave the game's originators bewildered. Forget the limitations of 11 players per side. In Trobriand cricket, entire villages take to the field, their numbers a display of collective strength and unity. Traditional war paint and elaborate feathered headdresses replace the pristine white uniforms of the British game, transforming the cricket pitch into a vibrant canvas of tribal identity. The rhythmic thump of drums and the hypnotic sway of dancers replace polite applause, creating an atmosphere of electric excitement that permeates the entire community. These dances, adapted from ancient war rituals, are not mere celebrations of sporting prowess. They are carefully choreographed performances, often incorporating taunts and boasts directed at the opposing team, a stylized echo of the verbal sparring that once preceded tribal clashes. The dancers, their bodies glistening with coconut oil and fragrant herbs, gyrate rhythmically, their movements a symbolic display of virility and strength. The chants, echoing across the playing field, often incorporate sexual metaphors, adding another layer of complexity to the performance. Young women, watching from the sidelines, become the judges of this elaborate display, their admiring glances the ultimate prize in this ritualized combat. Magic, a potent force in Trobriand life, also finds its way onto the cricket pitch. Spells, once used to ensure victory in battle, are now employed to influence the outcome of matches. A team might use magic to enhance their batting or bowling skills, or to weaken their opponent's performance. A sorcerer, consulted before a crucial match, might provide a special charm, a carefully crafted object imbued with magical power, believed to bring good fortune to the team. These magical practices, while often hidden from outsiders, are an integral part of Trobriand cricket, adding a layer of ritual significance that transcends the boundaries of the game itself. The atmosphere at a Trobriand cricket match is electric, a sensory feast of color, sound, and movement. The air crackles with anticipation as the two teams take to the field, their bodies adorned with paint and feathers, their faces fierce with determination. The drums beat a relentless rhythm, urging the players on, their hypnotic pulse driving the dancers into a frenzy of movement. The chants, rising and falling like the waves of the sea, carry messages of defiance, pride, and sexual prowess. The spectators, packed tightly around the perimeter of the field, add their voices to the chorus, their cheers and jeers fueling the competitive fire. It's a spectacle that engages the entire community, blurring the lines between sport, ritual, and social drama. Winning a cricket match brings immense prestige and bragging rights, elevating the victorious village within the social hierarchy. The winning team is feasted with mountains of yams, a symbol of wealth and status, and their achievement is celebrated in songs and stories that are passed down through generations. One story tells of a legendary cricket team that, having won a series of crucial matches, was rewarded with a lavish feast, their victory celebrated with days of dancing and feasting. Their names became synonymous with skill and prowess, their exploits recounted in epic tales that inspired future generations of cricketers. Losing, on the other hand, can have dire consequences. Defeat brings shame and humiliation, not only for the team but for the entire village. In particularly heated rivalries, the losing team's yam houses, symbols of their agricultural wealth and status, might be targeted for vandalism or even arson, a profound insult in Trobriand culture. One such incident, recounted in hushed tones among the islanders, tells of a village whose yam houses were burned to the ground after a particularly bitter cricket defeat, their loss a source of enduring shame and resentment. The adaptation of cricket as a substitute for war highlights the Trobrianders' remarkable ingenuity and adaptability. Faced with the suppression of their traditional ways of life, they transformed a foreign game into a powerful expression of their own cultural values. Cricket, in their hands, became a vehicle for maintaining social cohesion, resolving conflicts, and expressing tribal identities. It became a ritualized form of combat, a way of channeling aggression and rivalry into a less destructive pursuit. The colonial authorities, who had intended to pacify the islanders with cricket, could hardly have imagined the vibrant and complex cultural phenomenon they had inadvertently unleashed. Trobriand cricket is a testament to the enduring power of culture to adapt and innovate, even in the face of external pressures. It's a unique and fascinating example of how a foreign import can be transformed into a powerful expression of local identity. It's a vibrant tapestry woven with threads of tradition, ritual, and social drama, played out on the village cricket pitch under the watchful eyes of the ancestors. It's a reminder that even in the most remote corners of the world, culture continues to evolve, adapt, and surprise. The Trobriand Islanders of Papua New Guinea offer a captivating glimpse into a culture profoundly shaped by yams, ancestral spirits, unique social structures, and a vibrant ceremonial life. Yams are not mere sustenance. They are the foundation of their economy, status symbols, and central to their matrilineal kinship system. The intricate cultivation process, imbued with magic and ritual, reflects the deep connection between agriculture and cultural identity. Their spiritual beliefs, centered on the Baloma spirits residing on the mythical island of Tuma, influence every aspect of life, from conception and death to health and prosperity. Their surprisingly open approach to love and marriage, characterized by early sexual exploration and fluid partnerships, contrasts sharply with many other cultures. The Kula Ring, a complex system of ceremonial exchange involving shell valuables, highlights their sophisticated social networks and the pursuit of prestige. The arrival of Europeans brought a clash of cultures, leading to the adaptation of cricket into a ritualized form of tribal combat and the complex negotiation of traditional beliefs with Christian doctrines. Finally, their unique interpretation of emotions, particularly the gasping face, underscores the cultural relativity of even seemingly universal expressions. These insights into Trobriand culture offer broader implications for understanding human societies. They demonstrate the diverse ways cultures adapt to environmental and social pressures, the intricate interplay between material culture and social structures, and the enduring power of tradition in the face of change. The Trobriand example highlights the importance of cross-cultural understanding, challenging ethnocentric assumptions and demonstrating the relativity of social norms. Their story reminds us that what might seem strange or exotic from one cultural perspective can be perfectly logical and meaningful within another. The Trobriand case study also offers valuable lessons for navigating cultural exchange, demonstrating the potential for both conflict and adaptation when different value systems collide. Where might this exploration lead us? Further research into cultures like the Trobriand Islanders can deepen our understanding of human diversity, challenge our preconceived notions, and broaden our perspectives on what it means to be human. By studying different ways of life, we can gain valuable insights into our own cultural biases and develop more nuanced approaches to intercultural communication and cooperation. We'd love to hear your thoughts. What aspects of Trobriand culture intrigued you the most? What questions do you have? Share your comments below and join the conversation. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more fascinating explorations of cultures around the world. If you have suggestions for future topics, we'd love to hear them. The journey of discovery never ends, and there's always something new to learn. Embrace your curiosity and keep exploring.